So here I have a time capsule letter that I wrote back in May of 2015. So basically this was for my PE class, and we wrote a letter that was meant to be opened 6 years later. So I wrote this in May of 2015 when I was finishing up my sixth grade year, and I got it back in the mail 6 years later in May of 2021, which is now last year. And the idea was that we would write this in sixth grade and then get it back once we were right about to graduate from high school. So I graduated last year in May of 2021. So yeah, I was class of 2021. I was the class that got completely screwed over with COVID in their senior year of high school, but that is besides the point. So yeah, I think it would be a great opportunity to just go through this and talk about what was going in my head at the time and what I think about what I wrote in this letter now in May of 2022. So yeah, I read this letter for the first time since writing it in May of last year when I first got it back in the mail, but I once again stumbled across this letter a few days ago because just recently, I came back home because my spring semester of my first year of college just finished up. So, yeah, my first year of college just finished up. I came back home with my parents for a bit, and I stumbled across this letter. And I thought that, hey, it's been 7 years now since I first wrote this, 1 year since I originally got it in the mail, and 6 more years since I first wrote it, so seven in total. So I thought, why not go over this letter and just give my thoughts on it because so much has changed, both in terms of my personal life and the world in general, since I wrote this letter back in May of 2015. So I was 12 at the time when I first wrote this, finishing up sixth grade, and now I am 19 and have just finished up my first year of college. So let's get into it. So yeah, first thing was my name, first name, middle name, last name, sixth grade year, 2014 to 2015. So yeah, I was in sixth grade from August of 2014 to May of 2015, or maybe June of 2015. Yeah, yeah. So the reason why I have some stuff here crossed out is just because these are things such as like my school name, the school I was attending at the time, and like some of my teachers' names. So I thought it was just a good idea to not include that in the video. But let's get into the questions. Question one was, what was my favorite thing that happened this year? One of them was that I got a Wii U for my 12th birthday, so that was my birthday's February 10th, so in February of 2015, for my 12th birthday, I got a Wii U, and that was something I was really looking forward to for a while because I wanted the Wii U originally back when it came out in 2012, but for a while, my parents weren't on board with it because they weren't sure if it would be a successful console. It ended up not being successful anyway, at least like compared to the Wii and the Switch, but eventually, like, my parents got around to it, and also I was able to pay for most of the Wii U with gift cards that some of my classmates gave, GameStop gift cards specifically that some of my classmates gave for my birthday. So that was nice. I played the Wii U for a bit and then I quickly got over it, mainly because I got the cubing, which we will get into in a bit, or got back into it. I had been cubing on and off for a while before 2015, but I also in my sixth grade year got my first cell phone, which was the iPhone 4. So the story behind that was that this was in like October of 2014, so like first couple months of my sixth grade year. I noticed that most of my classmates had cell phones, and I also noticed that there were a lot of things in my classes for which cell phones were, if not necessary, at least made things a lot easier. And I told my parents about this, and coincidentally at the time, the iPhone 6 was just being released, so my parents were thinking if they get the iPhone 6, then they could hand me down their iPhone 4 that they were previously using. So they ended up getting the iPhone 6. I was able to get the iPhone 4 as my first phone, and even though it was a bit older, even in 2014, it was still a pretty good phone, like, for what I needed it for. Like, I didn't need it for too much. It was mainly just for, like, if I'm going out somewhere, like, my parents want to know where I am, things like that. And also, like, of course, to, like, play, what was I playing at the time? Five Nights at Freddy's? I don't even remember exactly. Five Nights at Freddy's, maybe some Jetpack Joyride, maybe some Fruit Ninja in there. I don't remember exactly what apps I played on my phone at the time, but yeah. And my best friends, yeah, I listed their names there, but I thought just for the sake of their privacy, better to cross it out. But yeah, I put two sets of friends because I had just moved to a new school right before writing this letter. So yeah, I switched schools in not May, in early April of 2015. So right when my sixth grade year was about to end, I had 2 months left of sixth grade at the time. So I wrote down two sets of people, the people at my new school and some of the people at my old school that I had moved from. But yeah, sixth grade was definitely, the end of it was definitely a hard time for me because having to deal with moving to a new school and a new place while you're still not done with that previous school year was definitely a challenging experience, but I was able to make the best of it and eventually got through it. Favorite music, part instrumental, part synthetic. Yeah, my music preferences hadn't been nearly as developed at the time, that's for sure. But honestly, like I still enjoy like this sort of music, even like nowadays for sure. But definitely, I would say like my taste in terms of music I prefer definitely has evolved a lot. Nowadays, I see myself listening to a lot of music that was popular in like the 2000s. Like in earlier 2000s, it was like the more like laid back, like emotional, like punk rock, that sort of stuff was popular in the early 2000s. But now, and also in the later 2000s, you had like more of the electro pop sort of thing. Like Kanye West was big in the late 2000s, and also yeah, many other people. I can't name them at the time at this time, but that's besides the point. Fourth question was your favorite thing to do when you have downtime. Oh yeah, Pitbull was also popular in the late 2000s. I don't know why I'm bringing that up now. Yeah, favorite thing to do when you have downtime. Yeah, this was like I was talking about earlier. One thing that I had really gotten into around 2015 was cubing, and I had already been cubing for many years. I think I learned how to solve a Rubik's cube all the way back in like 2009. I think it was the summer of 2009 when I was only 6 at the time. That's when I first learned how to solve it. But for a while, I hadn't taken it too seriously. It was sort of something I just did on and off for fun sometimes. But when I moved to this new school, a lot of my classmates were able to solve the cube, but they were also able to do it faster than me, and they had speed cubes I hadn't heard about before. So that really motivated me to get back into it. And a few months later, in August of 2015, I attended my first WCA competition, and then like right around then is also when I started this YouTube channel. So that's one of the reasons why I think I'm going through this also is because this sort of time in my life was a very crucial time in my life because it really laid the groundwork for a lot of what was to come afterwards, like my interest in cubing, like what I would do in my middle and high school years, things like that. And in my mind, this, even though mathematically speaking, is like a third of my life ago, it feels like it was half of my life ago because I feel like if you were to divide up my life into two halves, the first half would be pre 2015, where I was pretty young. I was just like learning a lot of stuff. Like I was in elementary school and maybe very beginning of middle school, and then 2015 onwards would be the second half because that's when I moved to this house, and that is also when I got back into cubing. That's when I started this YouTube channel, for example. That's when I started attending WCA competitions. A lot of stuff happened in 2015 that I think makes it so that post 2015 was very different from pre 2015. Also, I think that just in terms of like stuff that has happened in the world in general, I feel like 2015 was also a pivotal year in many ways. So, question for yeah, solve my puzzle cubes. That was something I was really getting into at the time. Playing my Wii U, it was something I had gotten recently, so that makes sense. Xbox 360, PSP. I used to be more into gaming. Nowadays, at least for like the last few, especially for the last few years, I have not really been into gaming much. Nowadays, I on my free time, I sometimes cube, sometimes just watch YouTube videos or listen to music. Sometimes I listen to the news, even though it's generally depressing. But besides the point, fashions. I didn't know what to say here. I'm not very big on fashion. Even nowadays, like I don't think about it too much. I just like wear what's comfortable and like what I feel like fits me. I don't like think about it too much, and I don't like spend too much money on clothes. But yeah, wear short sleeve shirts. Doing that now. That say cool things. Hey, nothing. Saying nothing is cool. And shorts. You might not be able to see, but I'm wearing shorts right now as well. Question six. Yeah, like I'd say this is like not really changed. Like except the cool things part. Like nowadays, I just go with like the black shirt or not black, but maybe some other color. But yeah, shorts. I tend to keep things simple. I don't overcomplicate things when it comes to fashion. Like I just like this feels comfortable. I'm fine with it. Six. What's a goal you'd like to accomplish by the time you leave middle school? One of them was the first one actually was get a sub 10 Rubik's cube solve, which I did do in March of 2016 when I was in seventh grade. So around like a year after I wrote this letter, I got my first sub 10 official 3 single, which was very good at the time. It was actually overall PB, and it was my second ever sub 10 single if you also include solves done at home. So yeah, I got sub 10 at an official competition in 7th grade, March 2016. And then sub 1 minute 4x4 solve. This also I did in May of 2016, so right when I was finishing up 7th grade, I did an official sub 1 solve in 4x4. So I also did that before the end of middle school. Yeah, so official sub 10, official sub 1 for 3 and 4 respectively. Both of those done before the end of middle school. I want a job. I don't even know what I was thinking. Actually, now that I think about it, I did have a job, but like it wasn't an official job. It was just a sort of thing where like my neighbor agreed that if I would look after their dog for like 30 minutes per day, Monday through Friday, they'd give me $5 for each day I did it. So it wasn't really an official job, but I still got money for it, and like it sort of served like my first job. But I don't really know exactly what I was thinking here because like you can't really. I think the minimum age to get a job is 14 or 15, but like to get an official job, you have to be like at least high school aged. So I don't know why I put that under the middle school option, but I did have an unofficial job, so I guess technically I did accomplish that also. But yeah, I don't think I knew at the time what the minimum age to work was, so maybe that's why. Or I did. I don't know. Maybe I did know. I don't know. And then what was I saying? Oh yeah, I want to be an intermediate programmer and start selling things. The selling things part I didn't really do, unless you count some of the cubes that I sold that I no longer needed. Like sometimes when I would go to a cubing competition, I would just sell cubes that I no longer wanted, or sometimes I would trade them. Intermediate programmer, this is subjective, but I don't really think I accomplished this by the end of middle school because I wasn't really that, I didn't really know that much of any programming language by the end of middle school. I knew a bit of Python and some HTML and CSS, but that's really it. I don't think intermediate programmer was uh accurate description. And then I see this here. I want a girlfriend that's my type. Definitely did not happen by the end of middle school. I'll tell you that much. Now, by the time I leave high school, what were my goals? This was a lot more unrealistic. I think I was aiming high, which is definitely not a bad thing, but I was also completely unrealistic in my expectations. Start my own company, definitely did not do that. Finish some sort of finish some of college, that I did do because of my AP classes. The AP classes I did in high school did give me some college credit, and that is one of the reasons why I'm able to graduate in 3 years instead of four for my undergraduate degree. So that was nice, yeah. Even though the AP classes did cause a lot of stress at times in high school, like I think they definitely did pay off with the amount of credits it gave me. So yeah, I did finish some of college in high school when you look at it like that. I never did like any like full on official college classes in high school, of course, but I did like get some credits. Break a WR in cubing. I was ambitious, but this definitely did not happen. Definitely not. I got top 100 once in one event for 1 week right after NATS 2017 when I got a 1024 square one single, but that's it. No world record, nothing close to that. Have a girlfriend that's my type. Same as middle school, still did not happen. Yeah, I still have not accomplished that, but I'm optimistic because I think for the past like several years, like it's really been a matter of me figuring out like what do I want, like who am I, like what do I want in life, what do I want to accomplish, what is my goal, what is my destiny, like what is my purpose essentially. And I think I've done a lot better of a job figuring that out in the past several years, and I think now I'm in a lot better position to pursue a romantic relationship if I were to be interested in that. Now for number 8, what do I plan on doing after high school? I want to go to MIT or Stanford. University of South Florida. Not MIT or Stanford, but it's a lot cheaper, so I ain't complaining. Move to a big city. I changed my mind on that. After after spending some time in a bigger city for one semester, like fall semester of college, I definitely changed my mind on that. I think that I see the appeal of it, but it's not for me. I think things are a bit too hectic in bigger cities, and I definitely prefer like a more chill, laid back sort of environment. Like I definitely want to meet a lot of people, but I think cities aren't even really the best pathway for doing that. Or even in a different country. I don't know if I want to. I don't really have any plans on living in a different country, but I definitely do want to do a study abroad sort of thing sometime. Probably next summer would be the best time to do it. It's definitely something I'm looking into, but yeah. No, not MIT, not Stanford. University of South Florida, though. Definitely saving a lot of money from going there with the scholarships I'm getting, so I'd still say it was worth it. Moved to a big city. I was there for a semester. Definitely isn't for me. What do I plan on doing for a career? I'm going to be a programmer. At the time, I was interested in programming. Definitely is not the case now. Now, my plan is to go into the medical field. So right now I'm on the pre-med pathway. If things go as planned, I will be able to get into medical school in 2 years from now in not May of 2024. That's when I'd be graduating, but hopefully in 2024, maybe like later that year is when I would be able to get into med school. And then use science, technology, math, and engineering. I'm not an engineering major, I'm a biomedical sciences major, but like generally like these subjects still do go along well with what you do as a doctor, so that's not completely out of the picture. Where do I want to live? Either in the UK, New York City, or Los Angeles. I don't know what I was gonna. I think I was gonna write something else like any of these are fine, but I don't know. New York City, definitely not. LA, maybe, but once again, like I don't know if I'm really like cut out for that big city sort of stuff. UK though, like I don't know if I want to live there, especially considering like having to go through the whole process of like moving countries might be a lot, but definitely want to visit there like again sometime soon. I've been there twice, but both were for layover flights. And one of the times I didn't even like exit the airport, but the other time I was there for like a day or two. It's definitely worth visiting, but I don't know if I'd want to live there. I just don't know enough about it, and it would be a lot of work to like completely change my life for that. Married, yep. I think that means like, do I plan on getting married eventually? And here I put yep. And honestly, like, I still agree with that, but it has to be with the right person, of course. Like, it's better to be single than to be in a toxic, unhealthy relationship, that's for sure. Kids, yes, three of them. I think back then I was definitely interested in having kids, and then in high school is when I did a complete 180 on that. But I think at this point I've done a complete 360 because now I'm back to like, yeah, I would like to have kids, but I don't know if I'd have three. One or two is how I'd have. I feel like by the time you get to three, it's a lot harder to look after each individual one and spend a decent amount of time with them. I mean, a lot of people pull it off, but like it's definitely a lot of work. Like it's definitely something you have to set aside a lot of time for. So if I am to have kids, which definitely is not out of the question, I would have one or two, but three would be too many. Now let's go to the backside of this paper. So this is just some extra stuff that I wrote, but this isn't like really part of the main question series. It's just some extra stuff that I thought would be nice to add because I thought, hey, if I'm going to see this 6 years later, might as well give as good of an idea of what I'm doing in 2015.